A creepy stranger who entered a woman's apartment, staring at her sleeping on the couch, has been charged with burglary after stealing a pair of socks. This is a different strange story. Here is a picture of a woman sleeping on a couch, and here is a picture of a man watching her sleep for some reason. A stranger entered the woman's apartment and stared at her while she slept on the couch before fleeing after she woke up and stealing a pair of socks. I don't know if this is legally burglary or not. Burglary, incidentally, legally, in case you care, is entering a dwelling with intent to commit a felony therein. An example of which would be theft. But of course, you have to have the underlying intent, strictly legally speaking, when you enter. So technically, this could be trespassing and then theft independent. So you'd have to technically prove that he had the intent to commit the crime when he entered the house. So I'm not sure this is technically legally burglary, but it's weird anyway. Dan over here, 23, seen entering the home of the woman who says she didn't know him in the early morning hours of April 1st, not an April Fool's joke, or if it is, it's a really bad one. The individual entered the residence, spending 30 minutes inside. During the time, he's seen walking the entire apartment, at times staring at the woman. He's also seen organizing shoes and placing them next to the couch. He apparently turned himself in after recognizing himself on a news report. The woman spoke to Law and Crime saying, "I slept with the TV on. He was super quiet. I think the combination too is just how I kept sleeping." She said the intruder had been down to the kids' room. You know, it's creepy. Yeah, creepy is a pretty apt description of this, to be sure. She said that the individual woke her up after apparently bumping her knee. She asked who he was, but didn't get an answer. She asked again. He said, "I'm the guy who dropped you off last night." Okay. The woman said that she started screaming for her son. At that point, he's already headed to the door, apparently grabbing socks on the way out. She called the police, who took fingerprints. She told law enforcement she wanted to press charges. Yeah. She says that she has an idea of why he chose to organize her shoes. My assumption he's on drugs or something. I didn't smell alcohol. Someone had come to my home earlier in the night after work and just absentmindedly forgot to lock the door. He's facing currently 2 counts of trespassing. Trespassing is probably, well, trespassing is a gimme. I mean, it's clearly trespassing. Burglary is a little bit harder. I mean, legally. But it's weird as shit. As to why the charges aren't more severe, it says he doesn't appear he had any nefarious intent. See, that's also why the burglary is a little bit difficult, because you have to prove the intent at the time of the entry. And to do the felony, right? So that's the nature of burglary. You need trespass plus intent to do some other crime while you're there. That's what burglary is. So if he just entered and then incidentally to that at some later time decided to steal things, it's not legally burglary, technically. He mentioned that there was some alcohol that was involved, but that was really it. It sounded like he didn't have any ill intentions. I don't know if there's confusion. He went over visiting someone and it got mixed up. That's a hell of a mix-up, by the way. I mean, I suppose that's true too. I guess technically it could also not be trespass, because if he thought he had permission to enter, because he went to the wrong place. But you know, you would think that you would figure it out somewhere before the 30 minutes and rearranging the shoes. The woman who lives in the apartment is not currently satisfied with the charges. I feel the lead should be either burglary or assault. And I'm not sure it's either of those things, to be honest. I was in fear for my life when I woke up. I have trouble sleeping. I wake up in the night to look to see if anyone's in my room. I just want to see my justice system goal. Yeah, well, this is a very, very strange story, and I do not doubt that this woman has some very strong feelings of it, but is it legally assault? Questionable. Is it legally burglary? Questionable. I guess technically it could be even questionable as to whether it's trespass, but this is a weird story for sure. Thus, that brings us to the end of the story of the guy who entered the apartment with a sleeping woman and helped her by rearranging her shoes for some reason. Weird. And yeah, he's been found, and we're trying to figure out what to charge him with, because this is a weird, weird story. So, trespass is a good place to start. We'll go from there. At least for a moment, that brings us to the end of discussion of this story.